Hello, hello, hello. How you doing this evening? Thank you very much. How are you feeling this evening? Great. Whenever somebody asks me how I'm doing, I always say better than good and better than most. And that's what I like for you to say. How are you doing?
Better than good, better than most.
Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you're doing better than good.
You're doing better than good.
All right. You know, I like to say that because I believe that we are. We have a lot of things going for us that many of us don't realize, and many of us really never use all the things that we have going for us and ever act on the things that we'd like to act on. And consequently, most of us go through life sleepwalking, never really discovering our true potential, never enjoying life to its full extent. And so, therefore, I think that there are some things that we need to begin to do to take charge of our destiny. How many of you like to take charge of your destiny? Raise your hand, please. Very good. All right. So we're going to do that. And you know, one of the things that really stimulated this, I was with a friend of mine. We were riding back after I'd spoken to her company, and they had a major downsizing. Now they call it right-sizing, when companies reduce the workforce for economic reasons. Well, at any rate, when we were on the plane and she said, you know, I'm no longer going to be with the company. And I said, no. I said, why? She said, well, my division has been eliminated. I said, well, you do have another plan, don't you? And she said, no. I said, but didn't they have something of this nature about a year ago? She said, yes. I said, but did you start thinking that maybe perhaps you need to prepare to do that which you really wanted to do? Because this person that I've known for a long time always wanted to be involved in fashion design. So I said, haven't you been doing something on your fashion designing career? She said, no. I said, but what have you been doing? She says, hoping that nothing happened to me. I said, but hoping is not a process. It's not a method. You know, a lot of people go through life like that. Now, that wasn't really what she wanted to do. But I do a training seminar, and one of the things we ask, what would you do if the unthinkable happens to you? What would you do? If you had an accident, or you lost your job, or you were laid off, or you became ill, how would you provide for yourself if the unthinkable happens to you? And it doesn't always happen to the other person. It can happen to me, it can happen to you. But most of us go through life thinking that, well, just maybe it won't happen to me. That we'll just read about somebody else that it will happen to us. Talking to a friend of mine by the name of Maria, who is wheelchair bound, and she said that she had an experience in her life that taught her that she's not immune from life, because she was diagnosed as having muscular dystrophy at age 15, and she figured that was tragic enough. But 2 years ago, because of a malfunctioning wheelchair, she fell out of a van, struck her head, and suffered a closed head injury. Had blood on the brain, and they said that she perhaps might go blind, or she have loss of memory or concentration. And I said, how did you handle that? She said, Les, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I said, why? She said, because on that day, I woke up and I realized that life is about today. Living today. That whatever I want to do, I do it right now. She said, I enjoy getting up in the morning, looking out of the window, just looking at the grass. She said, because I could have lost my vision. She said, I'm appreciative of just the little things. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, be thankful for the little things. Isn't that important? That we've got to begin to learn how to become thankful for the little things and live in life right now. So I want you to think about your ideas. All of us have ideas and things that we have not acted on. I want you to just think about them right now. E.L. Simpson said that an idea should be like a pen. You know, that a pen that you sit on and you jump up right away to do something with it. So I don't want you to just think about it. I want, when you leave here, I want you to jump and do something with it, all right? Now, so think about this idea. What does it take to be in charge of your destiny? Well, you got to begin to develop some skills, and you got to ask yourself a question. What do you have going for you? What is it that you have going for you right now that's a real plus for you? What is it that you have going against you? What kind of training do you require? What is it that you need to learn? See, you make money only one of three ways in an economy of this nature. You have to have a skill, like I've developed the skill to become a speaker, or have some specialized knowledge, or have a particular product or service that you can provide for the public. John H. Johnson of Ebony Magazine said something very important. He says, there is no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing public need. So any idea that you have, it must fulfill a need for somebody. Once you think about it. Now here's the next step. Don't worry about the fact that you don't have all the things you need in order to make it happen. Decide that you're going to do something about it. Become an active force in your life. See, you've got some talents and abilities right now you have that if you don't challenge yourself to use those talents and abilities, you'll never ever discover the full effect that they can have on achieving all the things that you want to achieve. Most people go through life never using the power they have. You have enormous power to begin to create all the things that you want in your life experience that most people go through life never using. I travel a lot speaking around the country, and I was out of Detroit for around 2 months. I came back to the airport, went in the parking lot, put my key in the ignition, turned the key. Can anybody tell me what happened? Now, can you tell me why the car did not get started? The battery was dead. Why was it dead? I had not been using it. Repeat after me, please. If you don't use it, you lose it. See, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't use your talents, if you don't use this power, this force that you have within you, you're going to lose it. If you have the ability to write, and if you don't write, you're going to lose the ability to write as well as you do right now. If you have the ability to play an instrument, the world's greatest pianist said that if I miss a week of practice, I know it. And if I miss 2 weeks, the critics know it. And if I miss 3 weeks, my audience knows it. If you have the ability to draw well, and if you don't use that talent eventually, you're going to lose it. If I don't speak often, and at one point in my life, I missed speaking for around 6 months. And when I came up before an audience, I was rusty. I could not get my thoughts together. I could not have the power, the kind of confidence that I needed in order to make it happen. So whatever you want to do, whatever idea that you have, the longer that you're sitting on that idea, you are either creating or you are disintegrating. If you're not using it, your skills are diminishing every day. And there goes a second. There goes another second. And life is happening right now. But Les, what do you mean? Get your butt out of the way. So many people have gone to their graves, never discovered their true potentials because they allowed their butts to stop them. Like, but I don't know what to do. No, that's not really true. I was on a television program the other day. A lady called in and she said, there's something I'd like to ask you. And I said, what is it? She said, well, I have this thing I want to do, but I've been unemployed. I lost my job for 2 years. I haven't been able to find a job. I don't have the money, and I don't have the contacts, and I really don't know what to do. I said, excuse me. I said, the fact that you don't have the money or the contacts really is not the issue. I said, what's the real issue? She said, what do you mean? I said, what's stopping you from doing what you want to do? She said, well, I don't know. I said, but if you did know, what would your answer be? She said, well, I think maybe I'm afraid. I said, what are you afraid of? Maybe I might fail. See, a lot of people allow fear to stop them from living their dream. Answer your calling. Whatever you're called to do, don't count yourself out. Don't say, I can't do that. Many of us go through life saying no, and you don't even know what you're saying no to. You don't know what you cannot do if you're not willing to challenge yourself. Whatever it is that you don't know how to do right now, you can learn. I did not know how to speak for major corporations. I didn't know how to do that. But I decided to become a student. If you do your research, if you do your homework, if you make the commitment that I'm going to learn, when you look at what do I have going for me and drop your buckets where you are, decide I'm going to work and get myself together. God and Jim Rohn said, your gifts will take you places that you'll never begin to imagine. And I decided to do one thing. All my life, I've been a jack of all trades and master of none. I mean, I did a little of everything. I was a disc jockey. I was a state representative. I used to be an MC. I used to do public relations work. I used to do door-to-door sales. I did a whole lot of things. But I decided that I was going to do one thing, and I would master that. And after mastering the art of speaking, then I would become a trainer. And after doing that, then I said, I must become a businessman. Just find one thing. and just decide that you're going to work with it until it gives you the blessing that you want, and don't let up on it. Just keep right on working it and working it and working it, and knowing that whatever you do, you can better your best, that you can get better at it, that whatever you are achieving right now, it's only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for you. Now, here's something else that you do when you start working on this dream. Give it everything you got. See, put your heart in it. Most people, when they're working on dreams, they don't give it everything they have. I heard a guy say in a book, the title of it was, All You Can Do Is All You Can Do. And all you can do is enough. Well, see, most people don't do all they can do. Most people go through life holding back. Have you ever had the experience of starting your car and you mash down on the accelerator and the car, boom, wait a minute, hold a minute. Start mashing again and it was not moving, it was very hard, and all of a sudden you realize that you had the emergency brakes on? How many of you ever had that experience? Raise your hand, all right? Then you release the emergency brakes and then the car moves, boom, unencumbered. Most of us go through life with our emergency brakes on. Well, it might not work out. People might talk about me. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough education. I'm too ugly. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, what you have is enough. See, you know, there are two kinds of people in life. There are winners and whiners, you know. Most people go through life just whining. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have good credit. They didn't like me, you know. No, life is not about that. See, the major key to your taking charge of your destiny is you. I mean, if you have the credit of Ross Perot, that will help. All right? If you got somebody to co-sign for you, that will help. If you happen to be handsome, that will help, you know. If you have people who will support you, that will help. But all of those things are secondary. The major key to your taking charge of your destiny is you. It's you. And even though you might not have all the things going for you that you would like, you have the power within you as you begin to develop your consciousness, as you hold the vision of what it is that you want to do, as you decide to answer this small voice within you, because as you respond to this voice that's telling you you ought to do this, the way will come, ideas will come to you. You will begin to attract things you need and things that you don't even know that you need right now. You will develop the skills in the process as you look at yourself, finding out what is it you need to do, what kind of adjustments you need to make, what new strategies that you need to begin to implement to make it happen. But if you don't put yourself out here, if you don't become actively involved in life, if you hold back on yourself and continue to procrastinate, when I saw a speaker who I said, I know if this guy can do this, I know I could do that. That was years after I had made the decision to do it. I was holding back on myself. I kept building up all kinds of reasons and excuses to justify why I wasn't acting on my dream. Most people go through life as volunteer victims. They go through life volunteering to be victims, giving excuses on why they're not pursuing their greatness, giving excuses on why they're not doing the things that they want to do, putting it off again and again and again, wasting valuable time. Life is very valuable, ladies and gentlemen. Time is very valuable. And it's very fragile. You've got to decide to do what you can right now and don't delay. Living your life like a sense of urgency. Repeat this, please, and tell somebody on your right and left. Live your life now. Be happy now. This is not a dress rehearsal. Do that, please. This is your Super Bowl. Do you know there are people who put more emphasis and more energy into a sporting event or dancing or entertainment than they do on their dreams? They have more interest in who won a particular game than where they are in relationship to their goals and their ambitions and developing themselves. So you want to begin to get your priorities in order. Ask yourself the question, the people in my life right now, are they contributing to my growth and development? Are they making me a better person? What I'm doing right now, is it nourishing me? Does it empower me? Is it giving me what I need out of my life right now? Is it challenging to me? Is it making me stretch mentally and emotionally and spiritually? Is it getting the best out of me? See, this is the only life you've got. So you don't want to squander it doing something you don't want to do, feeling you can't do any better. You can do better. You should do better. You deserve to do better. You're entitled to that. That is your right to do better. So resolve that within yourself. Make it something in your life that you just won't compromise on. See, it is important to me that I be able to provide for my mother. That is not optional, to be able to provide for my children. There's a standard of living that I'm going to enjoy. It is not optional. It's not something that I would like to see happen. It's not something that it'll be okay. It's something that I value. And as you begin to look at your life, draw the line and say, hey, what is it that I need that can give me a sense of fulfillment? What is it that I need right now that I would enjoy, that will give my life some music and some power? Decide that, because you deserve that. But if you don't decide that and decide to make that happen, it will never happen for you. It will never happen for you. I did a training years ago, and after this particular seminar, I'll never forget a lady who was 85 years old. She stood up and we asked a question, anybody has anything brave to share? And she said yes. She said, this was a very enriching seminar for me. It really opened my eyes. She said, I'm 85 years old. She said, all my life, she said, I sacrificed my dreams for everybody else, for my family, for my husband, for my children. She said, I've really never done anything for me of value, of the things that I really find important. She said, I say to you young people, you won't be in my situation right now if you decide to live your life now. She said, if I had my life to live over, I would do things differently. She said, but I don't have it to live over. And when I go home, I got news for my husband. So repeat after me, please. I'm going to live my life now. I'm going to live my life now. I deserve that. I deserve that. Okay, now here's something else I want you to realize. Things are going to happen. You've just got to handle it. My goddaughter, Nika Williams, who lives in Columbus, Ohio, just this past week, 3 children in her neighborhood that she went to school with were sitting in a car talking. An intoxicated driver lost control of his vehicle and ran into that car and killed those 3 kids. The children that they went to school with experienced pain and grief and shock, but they became actively involved in putting together the funeral services. And I talked with her. And I said, how you doing, Anika? She said, I miss them. She said, but there's something that I realize, that many of the relationships we have in life, we take casually. That we don't say all the things that we really should say and do all the things with people that mean something to us that we really should do. I'm going to miss them. But it's really alerted me about how unpredictable life is. And so now she's going to become a very sharing person, more so than ever before, and all of the other young people that were involved. But they were handling it. And as you begin to look at your life, decide to handle things. When you decide that you want to begin to take control of your destiny, there are going to be some sacrifices that you're going to have to make. There will be things that you're going to have to decide, I got to give this up. I've got to let this go. Many times you will have problems in your personal relationships. When I decided to become a motivational speaker, I was gone sometimes for weeks when I left home before coming back. And I'll never forget, I did a big major rally for a guy by the name of Dexter Yeager, a big Amway rally called Free Enterprise Day. And after speaking, people were chanting, we want the motivator, we want the motivator. Boy, I was excited. So I ran back to the phone after I came off stage and I called the young lady that I was dating then. I said, look, I wiped them out. They love me. They were saying, we want the motivator. Listen, they're saying, we want the motivator, we want the motivator. So she said, Les, I need to tell you something. I said, what? And I heard a voice in the background said, hurry up and tell him. I said, who's that? She said, Les, you've been gone so long. I said, yes, I've been working on a dream, and I'm sorry, the relationship is over. What? You gotta be kidding me. I said, hang up. I said, wait. And I said, Mr. Motivator, come on. I said, hold a minute, wait. I said, Mr. Motivator, come down. I said, okay. I went outside and I looked at the people. I said, you got to have a dream that's real big. I said, sometimes things will happen to you that will catch you on the blind side and bring you to your knees. I went back to the hotel, but they had to pull me off stage. I was out there saying, you got to have a larger vision. You got to be hungry. They pulled me off. I said, and you got to stay motivated. They said, come on, motivator. They were turning the lights off. The janitors wanted to go home. I wanted to keep on for me. So they took me to the hotel. They gave me my check. And I was walking in the room trying to find the Gideon Bible. And Lonely was sitting on the bed saying, how's your positive attitude? How's your larger vision now? I'm telling you, when this happens, think it not strange. You're going to cry. People are going to get mad with you. People are going to start working against you. Your mate is going to get upset with you. Where you going? I'm working on a dream. Uh-huh. I got your dream. You ain't going to know it. People are going to start going crazy on you. Becoming jealous and envious, that's a part of the program. Understand that. See, that's why a lot of people say, no, that's all right. I pass on the dream. That's all right. I just keep on biting my nails, hope nothing don't happen. But it's an experience that opposition, those obstacles that you will encounter, that's how you grow. That's how you become stronger. Now, will there be some tight moments? Will there be some times that you want to give up? Yes. Here's something I was reading that Harriet Beecher Stowe said. She said, when you get into a tight spot and everything goes against you until it seems that you cannot hold on for a minute longer, never give up then, for that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. Never give up then, and that is so important. When you're working on doing the things you want to do and fulfilling your dream, and things happen, there are times when your energy feels so depleted that you want to give up, that it looks just totally impossible. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, don't give up then. That's when you've got to fall forward, when life is kicking dirt in your face. Don't give up then. That's when most people turn back. Most people will tuck their tails between their legs and they will run in the opposite direction and say, that's all right, life, I don't want this. All right? No. If you've decided that this is what you want to do, you've got to become courageous to stand up within yourself, to face it and step forward. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what gives your life meaning. Those things will begin to strengthen you like you can never begin to imagine. And I tell you, one of the most painful experiences I had in my life was also one of the most enriching, because they say that pain opens the space in the heart for joy. And because I did not buy into something, because I caught myself at a critical point and was able to back up and look at it, I was able to become free of the effects of what could have been a tragic situation for me and move on and do something about it. But I learned in the process that I had to learn to surrender and give certain things up. See, in life, everything that happens to you, there's a lesson in it. There's a lesson in it for you. If you look at it, whatever happens to you, just look at and view life that you're a student of the universe and say, what's in here for me to learn? One of the most tragic things that happened to me that could have been a tragedy was when I wanted to buy my mother a home, and I did that. And in my haste, and it was the first major purchase of property that I ever made in my life, and so I was naive. And so when we were sitting there at the closing, the attorney said, have you done a title search? And I said, what's a title search? And she said, well, that's when you check to see whether or not there are any liens against the property before you purchase it, so that you don't inherit any financial obligations of the previous owner. So the guy interrupted, said, look here. He said, the only reason that I'm selling you this house, and I'm doing it at a loss. I can actually make more money. But the only reason that I flew here from Philadelphia to sell you the house specifically is because I admire the fact that you're adopted and you want to buy this home for your mother. And he said, there are no liens on the property. I just want to help you. So I looked at my attorney. I said, I believe him. She said, Les, this is business. I'm not questioning his integrity, but I advise you not to sign the contract now. I looked at him. He said, if you're not going to do it, man, I'll just go ahead on and make the money that I was going to make. I said, okay, no. I want to do it. I said, I'll do it. So she said, okay. She said, this is not the last house in the world. I signed the contract. After being in the house for around 2 months, I received a notice that I had to pay a lien of $25,000 or I had to get out of the house. I called the attorney. I said, look here, sir. I said, my name is Les Brown. I'm the new owner of this property. I said, I bought this home for my mother. I said, she's 80 years old. I said, she has a bad heart, a serious condition. I said, and I just cannot give up this home. And I just exhausted all of my resources to buy the house. It's all I have. I said, can we work out some kind of monthly payments? I don't know how much I can get, but if you can work with me, I guarantee I'll give you my word. I want to keep this home. I'll pay you back. He said, we want the money in 6 weeks or you have to get out of the house. It's going to go on an auction block. I said, oh. I said, but I borrowed everywhere I could just to get the $12,000 to put down on it. He said, mister, that's not my problem. You should have had a title search done. So I went back home and I worried for weeks. I lost around 23 pounds. I would go home to catch the mail so my mother wouldn't get it. They put a listing in the newspaper. People were driving around, wanted to come in the house to look at it. So I put a sign out front saying that the newspaper article was an error, saying that the house was up for sale. And finally, when they were coming for the day they were going to auction it on the courthouse steps, I knew the moment the truth had come, I had to tell my mother. So I walked all night that night. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, the children were asleep, my mother was asleep. I said, Lord, why did this have to happen to me? I said, I'm trying to do the right thing. I want to provide for Mom. I'm not out stealing and robbing. I want to provide for my children. I said, why did this have to happen to me? I was personalizing. I was feeling like a victim. And so finally, I had to go in there and I had to tell my mama. So I kneeled by the bed. I said, Mama, I got something to tell you. She said, what? I said, we've got to move out the house. She said, why? I said, well, because of the fact that I made a mistake and I signed a contract when I should have had a title search done, and I can't pay the $25,000 outstanding lien against it. She said, good, I don't like this house anyway. I said, but you told me you did. She said, I just said that for you because you liked it so much. She said, it's 2-story, baby, and the arthritis. I can't climb the steps. But you told me you could, Mama. Oh, I just did that for you. I walked up the steps and I was in the room said, that fool crazy with this house. I said, oh, Mama. So I'll never forget when we had to pack up and go back to the old house we had moved out on in Liberty City, right down the street from Miami Northwestern High School. And the neighbors were out looking. Isn't that Mamie's boy? And they're coming back, you know? I was so embarrassed. I mean, I turned red, but couldn't nobody see it, you know? So my sister came over. She didn't make it any better. She was like, mixed the big time. Won't get no job going around and running your mouth. Yeah, you got a dream to get Mama home. Now, you back where you belong here. We came in the house and the roaches were playing bid whist. They said, y'all come on in, we miss y'all. And as I was taking furniture off the truck, I was so hurt and humiliated. I felt beaten. And I began to cry, and I held my head down. And my mama said, hold your head up, boy. I said, Mama, I just can't, Mama. She said, hold your head up. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You did the best you could. So I said, yes, ma'am, Mama. So I was carrying the furniture in. And I had to give a lecture that week on forgiveness. And I can't talk about anything unless I'm doing it myself. And I had to forgive and forget. Let it go so that I could grow. It took me time to work through that, but I did, and I was able to give the lecture. And to this day, I can't even remember the guy's name. But because I let it go, and I began to focus my energy in the now, later I got a bigger and better home for my mama. Here's what I learned from that. That was not the last home in the world. There were other homes. If I had just been willing to just let it go, he who cares less wins. And the guy called and said, you got to get out of there. If this is what happened, I could have, through worry and stress, I could have had a heart attack over a house that my mama didn't even like. Do you follow what I'm saying? So I now realize, hey, it's only things. And it's okay, they are replaceable. I lost everything except my spirit, and except the love of my mother, and her respect, and the respect of my children. Sure, people talked about me. Did they laugh? Yes. Did I feel humiliated? For a while, yes, I did. Embarrassed? Yes. And that's a part of it, but I didn't stay there. See, sometimes you can wallow in it, don't want to get somebody pull you out feeling good. Oh, I want to go back again. Don't wallow in self-pity. And there are people who will help you. You call them up and they'll give you a pity party, all right? No. I talked the other night about some explorers that were in Africa. And they saw these two little boys who were playing with some what appeared to be marbles. And they went up to these little guys and said, here, let me give you some candy for that. Little fellows ate the candy and liked that. Said, can we have some more? I said, yes. But would you give me what you were playing with? And they said, yes. And they gave these shiny little rocks, so to speak, to the explorers. And the explorers, taking them back and examining them, discovered they were large-size, uncut diamonds. They had a fortune. The little boys had a fortune in their hands, but they didn't know. They did not know. Repeat after me, please. If we knew better, we would do better. See, there are many of us, we work for people and sometimes put in 60 and 70 hours a week. Why? Because we have the ability, the talents, and the skills to contribute to the long-term growth and development and profitability of the company. Do we do that for ourselves? Oh, no. Why? Well, we say, well, I've got security. There's no such thing. It's an illusion in your mind. We go through life creating these illusions for ourselves. But it doesn't mean that you can't strategically work on something else on the side. Develop some hobby of passion and find ways that you can begin to create some alternative methods of providing wealth for yourself. See, money is not important to me, but Rita Davenport said it's right up there with oxygen. But it is important to me that it not be important. I got that from Rhea Steele. That's important. It is important to me that it not be important. Make it important to you to live your dream. See, how many of you fly airplanes? You've been in an airplane? Raise your hand, right? How many of you ever lost your luggage? Raise your hand, please. Raise your hand. All right, very good. Now, how many of you, if you knew your chances of getting to your next destination were as good as your luggage, would you still get on an airplane? No hands went up. You know why? You know why you could get on the airplane where your luggage is supposed to go and you show up and your luggage does not show up? Because the airline has made human cargo getting to the destination important, more important than the luggage. Aren't you glad? She said, yeah, I ain't gonna fuss no more. So as you begin to look at life, as you begin to look at the things you want to do, decide that you're going to become the active force in your life. Decide that you're not going to go through life feeling like a victim. Decide that when things become challenging, and they are, that you're not going to personalize it, that you're going to look at it and you do whatever you must do in order to work things out and learn from it. Learn from it. That's the key. I like what Charles Udall said. He says, in life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. If you've lost your job, don't say that I've been laid off. Just say, I've been given an opportunity by the universe to find my life work. So as you view all of the things that happen to you as an opportunity, now you're taking it from a different perspective. Now you become an active force in your life. Now you are the one, rather than running from things as they begin to change, you become a change driver because you know that you've got the power within you to make the difference. This force, this power, this energy that you have, that's more powerful than anything that can ever happen to you. You're more powerful than your circumstances or anything that you can experience right now. Decide that you're going to commit yourself to act on your ideas, to become happy. Commit yourself to live your dream. Commit yourself to become the architect of your future. There's something that I heard that Goethe wrote that I love very much. And it really, as you begin to operate out of this consciousness, you begin to experience a different level of living in terms of commitment. He says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. See, until you are willing to jump out there. Somebody asked me, how do I do that? I said, no. You don't need any answers now. You need to make the commitment. Once you make a commitment, then life will give you some answers. You can't decide just going to sit on the side of the pool and just stick your toe in. No, you've got to be willing to make the leap. Most people don't want to do that. They rather sit on the side and say, tell me, is it cold out there? Is it rough out there? Come on out and see. See, no, you want to decide to make that commitment because then that's when you become involved in the learning process. He said, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have otherwise occurred. He said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, magic in it. Begin it now. I read a book by Dr. Johnny Coleman that says, it works if you work it. And as you begin to look at your life, decide that you're going to start working on that dream. You're going to work and nurture that idea. Now, there will be people that will criticize you. There will be people that won't see it for you. But I say to you, don't let them turn you around. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, don't let nobody turn you around. Yeah. That's key. Because people will try and turn you around. Hello? People will try and turn you around. But when I heard Bob Mays out of Chicago sing that song, don't let nobody turn you around, that's real. Because that's why most people don't act on their dreams and ideas. That's why most people, when I'm talking with kids that are in institutions, and I said, what happened? Why did you give up working hard and making good grades? Well, they started teasing me. And they allowed that peer pressure to cause them to scale down their dreams and their ambitions. They started following the crowd. That's why many people don't do the things they want to do. A friend of mine, he wanted to become an actor all his life. He let someone convince him, you can't become an actor. You go out to Hollywood, they'll swallow you up. It's too competitive. Thousands of unemployed people out there. But then another friend of mine, Sheila Hall, and she decided at age 42, I'm going to live my dream. Her son graduated from high school. She decided to make the plunge, to go to Hollywood. Quiet person, never had any experience in the area. And because she decided to make the commitment, she is now working on a one-woman show. And she's been getting support from everywhere because she was willing to make the commitment. This other guy is far more talented and skillful, but he wasn't willing to make the commitment. So he goes to work every day to a job that's making him sick because he doesn't have the guts or the boldness to stand up in life and say, I'm going to live my dream. I'm going to commit myself to live out what's in me. I heard Dr. Johnny Youngblood say, I must live what's in me. I said, why do you do this? He said, I got to do it. I got to do it. And I'm saying, find something in your life that you say, hey, it might not work out, but I got to do this. Why? Hey, it's the one thing I love. It's my peace. It's my thing. You don't understand it? It's all right. It's all right. You don't need anybody to understand it. You don't need anybody to approve you. You don't need anybody to say, go ahead on and do it. If you get that, that's fantastic. If you get that encouragement, that's great. But I say stand up within yourself boldly and say, this is my life. I'm controlling my destiny. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, Leslie Calvin Brown, saying it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Thank y'all here. Hello, my name is Les Brown. Today I want to talk to you about your goals and your dreams. I want you to think about something that's important to you. Maybe it's a personal goal. I know in my own personal experience, my goal was to be able to buy my mother a home. I'm adopted, and so I wanted to be able to do something special for my adopted mother. She was a domestic worker for wealthy families on Miami Beach, and she cooked for these families. And we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. And she kept the children. And we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And you can imagine as a kid, I used to say, Mama, on the way home on the bus from Miami Beach back to Liberty City and Overtown, I said, when I become a man, I'm going to be able to buy clothes for us and buy groceries for us. But not only that, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home, just like the homes that you clean every day. And she said, Leslie, you don't have to do that. I said, I know, but I'm going to. And you know what? The reason that I said that, I believe that it was possible. See, the family that Mama worked for, Mr. Sidursky used to listen to motivational messages every day. And I was very fortunate to have to take care of the needs of Mr. Sidursky. Had to shine his shoes and dust his office, and he was very rude to me. He said, Leslie, especially he had guests, did you clean this? Yes, I did, sir. Look at it, how can you say that? I do apologize, sir. And his guests would say, don't talk to him like that. That's not nice. But the truth of the matter is, I didn't clean the office as good as I could have, okay? And the reason I did not is because I wanted him to call me into the office so I can spend time doing it over again as I listened to the motivational messages that he listened to every day by Earl Nightingale. I can remember as if it were yesterday. We become what we think about. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. I can hear the voice of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote The Power of Positive Thinking. Don't allow your negative thoughts to hold you back. You are greater than your circumstances. I can remember when he was listening to Zig Ziglar. If you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. I can remember as he's listening to Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. And unbeknownst to me, those messages, they're programming my mind. And it helped me to begin to develop a mindset of possibility. I want you to think about your goals and dreams of what you want to achieve on a personal level. Mine was to buy my mother a home, to take care of her. What is your goal? What's your dream? What is something that you want to do with your life? And I can say to you, based upon my own experience, I don't even know you, that it's possible. That you have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. And your mindset is crucial as you look at your goals and your dreams and having a spirit of optimism. I had a friend who went to New York City to apply for a job, and she came back and I said, hey, how did things go? She said, I didn't get the job. I said, what happened? She said, they turned me down, but I didn't think I was going to get it anyhow.
And I thought after I left her presence, well, why did she go in the first place? You know, she went there with a mindset that she was not going to get the job. I believe that we have an energy and a spirit about us that people telegraph that. But I believe that had she gone there, there's no guarantee that, hey, with a sense of expectation, I'm going to get this job. I think her preparation, her attitude, and her behavior and her energy would have been totally different. I'm reminded of two little boys who were in Philadelphia, and they were playing on some ice, and they got out too far, and one fell through the ice. And he was thrashing, trying to get out. And obviously, his friend looked at him and panicked, and he couldn't reach him, he couldn't pull him out. And so he saw him going under the ice, and it was very hard, and he couldn't break through. And so this little frail fellow ran, he saw a tree in the distance, and he scrambled up this tree, and he broke off a big branch and came back and savagely began to beat the ice, and he broke it. And miraculously, he saved his friend. And when the paramedics came, people were looking at him. He had a blanket around him. This little puny dude, about 12 years old. And people started asking the question as they looked at him and they looked at the branch. How could this little small fellow break this branch off and beat this ice and break it and save his friend? How could he have done that, as small as he was? And as they were scratching their heads, a gentleman who was there said, I can tell you how he did it. And everybody said, how? And he said, there was no one here to tell him that he couldn't do it. See, a lot of people are not really living their dreams and living the kind of life that they are capable of living because of the fact that they have been inundated with so many negative conversations. Have you ever had a goal and dream of something you wanted to achieve and you shared it with people that you love and thought they would be excited for you, and they said to you, you can't do that? You know, MIT did a study, and the study indicated if I tell you you can't do that, somebody else has to come along and say, you can do it. You can do it. Don't listen to him, Ruby. You can do it. John, don't listen to Les. You can do it. They have to say that 17 times before they can neutralize that one time. That's why my favorite book says faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And so by listening to those motivational messages, every day when my mother went to do domestic work on Miami Beach, it began to give me a sense of optimism, of the possibilities of the kind of life that I can live. And I'm saying to you, as you listen on a regular basis, as you begin to program your mind deliberately, the reason that most people don't achieve their goals is because they are thinking like everybody else. 16 revolutionary words. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's an ongoing process. What are your goals? What are your dreams? Earl Nightingale was right. You don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. And so you want to take the time every day to listen to things that can help to program your mind positively, because at the end of the day, if you don't program your mind, it's going to be programmed. Trust me, it's going to be bombarded with all kind of head trash, commercials. I was at a service station pumping gas and a commercial came up. I mean, you get on the elevator and commercials are there. You look at billboards, their messages is coming in, over 5,000, 10,000 messages on a regular basis. And so as you look at your goals and dreams, it's very important that you are intentional about controlling what goes on in your mind, because everything gets in through the eyes and through the ears. So, what do you want? What do you want for yourself? What I'm doing right now, I didn't do it for 14 years. You know why? Because I was suffering from possibility blindness. Have you thought about doing something and you looked at what you wanted to do and your heart said, I could do that. And then your mind asked, how? And then you start thinking, well, I can't do that. I don't have a college education. I can't do that. I don't have an MBA or a PhD. I can't do that. I've never worked for a major corporation. Why would corporations reach over people with PhDs and MBAs and years of experience and pay me to come in to do something I've never done? I thought about doing this for years, And I talk myself out of it. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Shakespeare says, therefore, dear Brutus, it's not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. And so as you look at yourself and look at your goals and look at your dreams, I'm saying to you that it's possible. Because if anybody at any point in time had a goal, had a dream of what they wanted to achieve, and they made it happen, then it's possible that you can do it too. But you've got to be intentional about programming your mind. So here's some things that's very important. I want you to hold in mind what it is you want to do in your personal life. What is it that you'd like to do? Maybe you want to do something for someone you care about. That was the goal and dream that I had. And I purchased 4 different homes for my mother. And I want you to think about your financial goal. You know, people say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to fight out for themselves. I have a friend named Rita Davenport, and Rita said, you know, money can't make you happy, you know, but it's right up there with oxygen. And I agree with that 100%. So as you look at your goals and dreams, I want you to think about your financial freedom number. What does that look like? That once you achieve that, it will alleviate a lot of stress. Once you achieve that, you have more time for yourself and for your family. You can go on that dream vacation you've been thinking about, or buy that dream car or home that you desire. Once you earn that amount of money, it would be like becoming debt-free. I want you to think about your financial freedom number. And then once you come up with that number, and I want you to write it down, as you come up with that number, I want you to multiply it 100 times. Yes, 100 times. Read my lips, 100 times. Why? Because I found that most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss, no. Most people fail in life because they do what I did for a major part of my life, aim too low and hit. And most people don't aim at all. That's why there's a saying that if you don't know where you're going to end up someplace else. And so you are serious about your goals and dreams. I can say to you that you've got to affirm yourself, you've got to tell yourself, you've got to encourage yourself that it's possible, that you've got to talk to yourself on a regular basis. I'd never forget, I had to speak in the Georgia Dome for a friend of mine, Dexter Yeager. And Dexter Yeager is a multi-millionaire. He makes over $1 million every 17 hours in this organization that I spoke for. And he invited me to be his guest speaker, the headliner, in the Georgia Dome. I panic. And the first thing happens when I become afraid, I have to go to the bathroom. So I went to this bathroom and they came knocking on the door. Les, the band is stalling. You need to come out. And I said, okay. And I was talking to myself saying, I can do this, I can do this. My mind went blank because I became overwhelmed when I peeped out front and saw 80,000 people in this stadium. It was the largest gathering I'd ever seen like this. I've seen it for sporting events, but for a speaking event, I'd never been in that kind of environment before. The most people I've ever spoken for up to that time was maybe about 500 or maybe 1,000, but 85,000. I went to the bathroom 7 times because 7 is my favorite number. You know, I'm one of 7 kids. My social security number is 267. My phone number is 702. Did I tell you my favorite number is 7? God made the world in 7 days. Naaman dipped himself in the River Jordan 7 times. Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times. Did I tell you I went to the bathroom 7 times because 7 is my favorite number? Well, finally, they got Mike Williams, my mentor, and he came and he knocked on the door of this portable restroom. He said, Brownie. And I said, yes. He said, come out. I said, Mike, I'm scared. I can't think. He said, are you afraid? Admit it. I said, yes, I am. I'm nervous. I just can't do it, Mike. I'm scared. He said, Brownie? I said, yes. He said, are you listening to me? I said, yes. He said, They came to see you. You didn't come to see them. You got this, Brownie. You can do this. Wow. Let me tell you what he did. One of the things I do is train speakers how to change lives. What he did was he distracted me. I was caught up in how big the crowd was. I was caught up with saying, what can I say to them? I was breathing hard. I was feeling overwhelmed being in that setting. And when he spoke, I knew that he believed in me. When he spoke, it's like he saw me on stage speaking, and he convinced me that I could do it. See, sometimes it's very important for you to hear this. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. And so when I looked at myself and I looked at where I was, what I said to myself, Mike believes in me. He believes that I can do this. And I'm saying to you, as you look at your goals and look at your dreams, one of the things that's important in maintaining an achievement-driven mindset and a spirit of optimism is having someone in your corner, having someone who believes in you, having someone who can see what you can't see. See, sometimes you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. That's why it's very important for us to have coaches, people who can encourage us, who can inspire us. You know, Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest, but he never won a championship without Angelo Dundee in his corner. People say that Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all times, but he never won a championship without Phil Jackson as his coach. And so as you work on yourself and work on your dreams, I'm suggesting that you get someone in your life that you can partner with, someone that can see what you can't see, someone that when you feel you can't make it, someone when you feel I can't do this, and they can give you a word of encouragement and will make all the difference in the world. And I finally came out. I came out, and as we were walking toward the stage, I stopped, and I said, will y'all pray for me? And they did, and I grabbed Dexter's hand and put it on my head. I don't know why I did that. Okay. And I finally went up, and I did it. And the speech was called, It's Not Over Until I Win. And what I really meant about that, it's not over until you win over that inner conversation that you have with yourself. See, there's some things that you can do that you don't know right now. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not available to you. My favorite book says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. There's some things that you can do that the heart can feel it, can experience it, but the mind can't get itself wrapped around it. And that's why I'm saying, what are your goals? What are your personal goals? What are your financial goals? And what's your social contribution? I believe we live in the greatest country in the world that gives us an opportunity to leave a legacy. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. One of the goals I have as a 17-year cancer conqueror is to let people know you are more powerful than cancer. One of the goals I have is to reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. One of the goals I have is to teach people, everyday average people outside of the church and outside of politics, both of which I believe polarize and divide people, but ordinary people who want to live an extraordinary life, how to use their story, how to use their voice to make a difference, or use their knowledge to create a financial empire for themselves. What's your goal? What's your dream? What will your legacy be? At the end of the day, when you leave here, what are 3 things that you want said about you when you check out? Because we're going to all go. Nobody's figured out how to get out of life alive. A lot of people go through life not attempting to do anything big or major with their lives because they are trying to play it safe. Hello, listen to me. Hello, there's no safe position in life. Hello, there's no safe position. You can't get out of here alive. You're going to die anyhow. And people who believe that it's possible that they can have their dreams, these are people that are daring. Helen Keller said life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. Decide that you're going to make your life a daring adventure. Decide to become a risk taker. Viscott said if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? Listen, I don't know you, but here's what I know about you based upon my own experience. You have something special. You have greatness within you. I don't care if you are going through some tough times right now. You are greater than your circumstances. What you are growing through, not going through, what you are growing through will help you to become a better person. There are periods in life when you have to realize that you have to come to a place within yourself where you say, I'm not going out like this. I'm not going out like this. You've got to get to a place where you say, I've had it. I was working on a job and they didn't like me and I didn't like them. They paid me just enough to keep me from quitting, and I worked just hard enough to keep from getting fired. Okay? It was a contract of mediocrity. And I got to the point, and this is when people change their lives. I got to a point where I said, hey, I've had it. I'm out of here. Where are you going? I don't know, but I'm out of here. You're about to make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. You're about to make me act a fool. Up in here, up in here. Come on. I can say to you, as you look at yourself, look at your goals, look at your dreams, what do you want to do with your life? It's possible. If anybody at any point in time in history had a goal, had a dream, and made it happen, then it's possible that you can have your goal. It's possible that you can have your dream. And as you look at yourself, work on yourself every day. Well, Les, what about those negative thoughts? You can't kill them. They're like little weeds. They keep on coming back. You can't kill weeds. They grow through the cracks of sidewalks. And so you can overpower those negative voices by listening to motivational programs, by tuning in on a regular basis to hear my voice, by reading 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day, by going to seminars and workshops and mesmerizing yourself with material that can help you to begin to get a different vision of yourself, to change your whole approach of how you see life. And it will help you to get to that next level. It'll help you to get unstuck. And how does that happen, Les? It's a process. I wish I could just tell you, all you have to do is just think positive and be enthusiastic and everything is going to work out all right. No. You can have a positive mental attitude and life will put some knots on your head. You know, Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. When you have goals and dreams, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. But in the midst of it all, you've got to believe it's possible. It's possible. A friend of mine, he was facing a life-threatening disease, Dennis, and he felt it was possible, even though his body was racked with pain, even though he was diagnosed with cancer at 18, even though the doctors called his family in and said he's not going to make it. He held on because he believed it was possible, that he was not just a statistic. It was possible that if he had the faith, if he had the drive, if he had the determination, he could come through this. He said to himself, this too shall pass. And so, it's possible. You can live your dreams, and you have to work at that. It's a moment-to-moment effort that you have to work to train your mind to serve you. You know, the Temptations had a song years ago, Just by Imagination, running away with me. In the absence of information, our imagination will run away with us, tell us that we can't do things. We begin to panic and we make decisions based upon our fears as opposed to our faith. You know, Zig Ziglar said that fear is false evidence appearing real. Faith is finding answers in the heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. What do you love? What turns you on? What do you really want in your life, for your life? How do you want to show up in the world? How do you want to use this gift called life? It's been said that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. Whatever your goals are, your personal goal, your financial goal, or this social contribution, your legacy, your mark, what you think about it. And here's what I know, that it's possible. Here's what I know, that if you think about it, what you think about, you bring about. If you're willing to put in the work, it's possible. If you continue to encourage yourself, continue to fall forward. I've got a saying, when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. You have something special. You have greatness within you. Your dream is possible. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.